Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV. I've recently gotten back into this game. I've decided I want to pick it up again now that I'm back in the UK and have the internet connection to support it. I need to go all the way through Stormblood up to whatever the latest expansion is before Dawn Trail comes out. It is Dawn Trail, right? I keep wanting to say Dawn Treader, but I kind of get the feeling that that's Narnia. Anyway, one of the issues that I'm having at this point in time is which of the many different jobs am I going to main going through this? Historically, I've been a healer, I've been a tank, I've been DPS in multiple different ways. There are new jobs that have been added to the game since I last started playing, so yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. You'll notice that every single one of my classes, ultimately, I'm using the Storm Elite set because it just looks amazing, right? Healer-wise, I've got Astrologian and White Mage fairly leveled up. Scholar's a little bit higher for me at the moment at 63. I've also got Warrior, which I really enjoy playing as tank. So I thought what I would do today, and just ignore the fact that the weapon hasn't been glamoured at the moment. I'm trying to find where I hid the axe that I actually glamour this one to. What I thought I'd do for today's video, while I'm trying to find my footing in the kind of content I want to make for this game, I was going to run a couple of dungeons as Warrior. I've had a quick read through the abilities. I've moved my hotbars around because I used to play on PlayStation, so I was using controller, whereas I'm now using mouse and keyboard instead. So we're just going to jump straight into some dungeons, and, well, we're going to see how I do as a tank. I've not actually tanked for, it's got to be 7 years now. It was before I moved to Zimbabwe. So we're going to queue up for some dungeons, see what comes up, and see how I do. Cross your fingers for me. We're going into this one hot, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that took a little bit longer than usual for a tank queue, but let's see what we get. Oh boy! Okay, first dungeon in a while. I know I've got my AoE rotation, I've got my single target rotation. Oh, and we're straight in on Somal Hard. I sort of remember this dungeon. Oh, goodness me, this has been a while. Well, okay, in at the deep end, I guess. Off we go. This is obviously one of the Heaven's Ward dungeons, and we're going to be fighting some dragons and working our way through this, and we'll see how we go. Got someone at the moment watching. Cool. And off we go. Oh, man. Okay. Okay. Think, Benzie, think. You remember how this worked before? We're going to take it slow to start with. I'm not going to do massive pulls, just because I want to make sure I've got everything down pat and I'm comfortable with that. There we are. Happy with that. Cool. Onwards. Just keep the aggro. Don't stand in the bad if we can help it. Keep an eye on my health. Healer seems to be having no issues at all at the moment. But obviously I remember I have my cooldowns to do some nice last stand kind of stuff. Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing fine. Possibly could do some bigger pulls. I'm kind of comfortable just doing these slightly, one group at a time kind of pull at the moment. Just while I refresh myself with things. But to be honest, tanking at this point, it's kind of just 2 buttons that I'm using. Not a problem. Right, you guys can kill that while we go and grab the next thing. Zoom that camera out a little bit further. There's probably a whole ton of abilities I'm forgetting to use here that could be giving me more. Gonna hit this guy a bit more. Single target this one with the 5-button rotation. Nice big hit on it there. Yeah, let's just stand in the bad because we don't care. Onwards! Oh, this feels good. It feels good to be back. I'm not going to lie, it feels good to be back. I really like Warrior as a class. Like, I played a bit of Gladiator and that, and the whole Sword and Shield thing, yeah, it's cool. I'm not going to say it's not cool, it's just, it wasn't really me. Whereas this, just going in with a gigantic two-handed axe and hitting things hard in the face, oh, that feels just much more me. Right. No big problems at the moment. I need to remember that I've got my rotation ability up here that gives me Surging Tempest. I just need to remember to actually keep that topped up. Do we need to kill those Spore Sacks? No, they're just spawning in and doing their thing. Cool. That surge is about to go off, so we're going to use my Control 2 instead this time to top that back up to 35 seconds. And just keep the rotation building up my rage. I'm going to save the finisher for now. Possibly a bit close to those. Yeah, there we are. Now we're going to use the finisher. Because we've got Berserk, and I can go straight into another one. Haha. Put some defensive cooldowns on there, because I've taken a little bit of damage. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Find which way we're going. Oh, that's actually kind of useful. I'm going to greed that. Just for some of my other classes that I'm leveling up. Yeah, I had a feeling it wasn't just going to be the one of you. Whenever you see a room there's like one enemy in a dungeon like this, you know as well as I do, it's not going to stay as one enemy. Again, as I said in other videos as well, you'll notice that a lot of this I'm using keyboard for pressing the buttons, obviously. But there are going to be times when I do actually manually click, just because it's a little bit easier to... Which way are we going? That way. It's easy to get turned around in these things. I do sometimes manually click just because it's a little bit easier for me to then be able to use the mouse to move and or the keyboard to move and so on. Oh, some big hits there. The thing as well at this point is I never know, obviously, is it me taking big hits because my gear's not right, because I've got my rotation wrong, because I should be using the cooldowns a bit more, or genuinely, and I mean this in the nicest way, this guy seems good. This guy seems good, so I'm not complaining. Or is it the healer that's just not keeping up with things? So kind of, you know, you have to consider all your options there. I'm never going to blame the healer, unless I outright know that it is definitely the healer that's at fault. Which, you know, sometimes it is. I've been there. I've been the healer, and I've been the healer who's doing a terrible job. Nope. Got pushed back too far away for that to actually land. I also realised I've not done this dungeon before. This is Somal hard. I've only done Somal normal. Which is why I said at the start of this, oh, let's go hunt some dragons. And yet I've not seen a single dragon in here. Come here, you. Hit me. Was a little bit slow on getting aggro on that second one there, but that's fine, no one died. And we're learning. Oh, I do hate it when loads of health bars go down like that, though. I know it's normal, but there's a part of me sitting there going, oh, it's the healer in me. I'm normally used to healing, so when I see a load of health bars dropping, oh, it does things to me. Okay, we're going to go straight in with the cooldown. Get those critical hits off. The thing about leveling dungeons as well is that they're fairly chill, right? We don't have to stress too much about, like, encounter mechanics. Basically, as long as you're not standing in the bad and you're watching your own health and occasionally popping a cooldown if you need it. I'm going to pop Rampart there. Make sure I keep inside. I think... What healer do we have? Yeah, it's a Scholar, so that is Sacred Ground that I'm standing in now, Sacred Soil. That sort of big glowy dome effect that was around me. Yeah, that has just appeared on the screen now. This sort of glowing circle with a big dome around it. That is Sacred Soil, and it's a slight reduction to damage when you've stood inside it. And this boss obviously does that pushback effect, which could push me outside of it. No worries though, and I love the effect on that one. What is that ability called? Fell Cleave. The big super spinny blades of death. Voila. I'm just going to kind of greed on everything because I'm leveling up so many characters. It's nice to have some gear in the back pocket for when I get to them. And yeah, you know what? Warrior tank. Oh, this is cool. Warrior tanking, always good fun. We are going to tomahawk that one. That should be enough, so I'm now going to single target onto the second one. Yeah, there we are. Nicely done. Obviously, doing single target against this one, I'm doing more damage than I would be against, we're going to get through it faster, is the point. Just make sure nothing spawned behind me as I run off. There's that Sacred Soil. Oh, it's nice having a Scholar, because at least I recognise exactly what they're doing. I don't like the look of that torch ability, so we are going to Rampart again. And again, I've probably got enough aggro on all those enemies that I can just pull down that Volcano Anala a little bit faster. Oh, don't stand in the bad! Don't be stood in the bad. Bad tank, don't stand in the bad. Tap the treasure coffs. Ta-da! Now, obviously, when you're tanking, positioning is important as well. Use some cooldowns there. Does a lot of incoming damage. I want to be stood, obviously, in front of the enemies, and I do ideally want to get the enemies, like, in front of my DPS, to the point that they're facing me and they've got their backs to the DPS. I don't like that name, a Volcano Anala. I'm not seeing the A on the end of that second word. Oh, and I think, well, hey, whoa, okay. Don't do that to me. Bit fast on the DPS there. Sacred Soil. Where's Hongang? Hongang is one of my big DPS cooldowns. That's the one I just used. Good. Not DPS, tanking cooldowns. You know what I'm trying to say. Boss time. And since we've got a player who is also watching these, I'm actually going to sit and watch this one myself. Oh, hello, big boy. Cool boss music as well. I've missed the Heaven's Ward music. Final bosses in these dungeons tend to be a bit more mechanical. So for a moment I thought as I was running back in front of him there that lava was actually going to stay in position and that I had completely goofed. No, it's fine, the lava is just a lingering visual effect. Come a little bit closer. Can we get you out of that pool of lava, please? Big hit on everyone. Always nice. Nice. I love all the lava exploding everywhere. This is amazing. Yes. Oh. Do we actually have any... Is it a melee class? No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's a Dragoon. Of course it is. We're okay. Two cooldowns at once, just to be safe. Big hit with a critical. Nice. Oh, so much lava. So much lava. All of the lava. And the boss is down. Oh, I like that. I like the sheer amount of lava that there is at the end there. I'm not going to do the whole victory cutscene thing. Ah, happy days. Right, player commendation. Thank you, healer, for keeping me alive. Oh, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. Oh. Yeah, okay, it's kind of coming back to me a little bit. I need to remind myself a bit more of my cooldowns. So I've got Thriller Battle, Maximum HP, that's the big push one. Hongang, most attacks reducing HP less than 1, that's when I'm about to die. Reduces damage taken by 20%, that's the nice one. It's quite short cooldown as well, 90 seconds. Reduces damage taken by 30%, delivers an attack with potency every time I suffer physical damage. Let's actually swap those two. And Equilibrium, that's the one I should kind of be using on my own cooldown. Reprisals also a very short cooldown, so we're just going to shift those up there. Those are my sort of 2 stun effects. So 7 is the one I need to be using a little bit more proactively. Alright, let's do a leveling dungeon now. Not quite as exciting, they're lower level stuff often, so I might not have access to all of these abilities. But we're going to give it a try. Help some people get through their main story quest. Get me some experience. Obviously, the first time you do a duty, you get bonuses for it as well. Here you can see more experience, more gil, and more storm seals coming from it. You can obviously just go down all of these every single day and fill yourself in. Main scenario instead of leveling. Yeah, let's withdraw. Do main scenario instead. There we are, the queue has popped, and I found the glamour for my Storm Elite Labris as well, so we've added that back onto my axe. Let's see which dungeon we get this time. It's an MSQ dungeon, so it should be one I have done, at least. Oh. Oh. Okay, Castrum Meridianum. Annoyingly, the one where we can't skip the cutscenes. No worries. Let's get into stance. Zoom our camera out. And off we go. The other thing with main questline dungeons and sort of leveling dungeons is that I think a lot of tanks do forget is that not a lot of the DPS necessarily have all the AoE abilities yet. So as tempting as it can be to just pull everything, you do also kind of have to remember that sometimes that does actually slow things right down because the DPS are only able to do single target. This is like level 50 though, so we should be okay on some fairly like large pulls. I can't actually advance until that gate goes down. There we are. I do remember the alarms doing my nut in on this one though. That goes the wheel weak the entire way through. That's nice as well, that the DPS there, or the healer, or whoever it is actually saying, look, you can probably pull 2 groups at this point. I'll be honest, I don't even remember when you've got 1 group or 2 groups that you can do. But, good to know, they're comfortable with it. We'll do that going forward. And onwards to boss. Do I remember there being ads in this? Yes, there are. mean, it does also help to read the screen, especially when called reinforcements is an ability. It's always the difficulty with ads as well. DPS naturally want to start hitting them nice and early, which is, you know, fine, but that can cause people to rip aggro early. And also your healer. The second down to spawn, if there's a heal goes off because someone needs it, which is, you know, fairly obvious. It's kind of one of those things that's gonna happen. You end up in a situation where someone suddenly rips aggro, and it's, unfortunately, often the healer. And that can really suck. You just get a load of ads appear and you try to get in, but the global cooldown's right there, sort of thing. I know they're saying two groups, just one aggro. Groups are also a little bit far away. Probably do with building up some rage about now. Nice big crowds. Okay. Yeah. Yep, feeling a bit more confident about the multiple now. The only problem with my AoE being all the way on the right side of the keyboard is I am pretty much relying on mouse movement. So I can't really sidestep AoEs, I kind of have to turn and run like that. Onwards! I also understand the urge to want to kind of push this dungeon quickly. It is one of those that does just kind of go on quite a bit. I am a good tank. I remember to not stand in the bad. Also perfectly timed that rampart to avoid the incoming damage. Though I did let my butt rip off. Oops. May as well just throw a tomahawk in there, because why not? Nothing else to do with that global cooldown. Let's throw an axe at you from some distance. Awesome! It wouldn't be a Final Fantasy game without massive enemies now, would it? And don't get me wrong, I'm a Rogadin. Rogadin are pretty beefy and badass themselves, but I mean, look at the size of that Colossus! Oh, don't stand in the bad, don't stand in the bad. Less talky, more survivey. It's like I also know I probably could stand in a lot of the bad and, you know, just keep hitting, but the amount of damage I do as a tank isn't really worth the extra strain on the healer, I don't personally think. But there's an argument to be made there. Some people, I think, would disagree. And there's probably some math in that as well. Keep the camera spinning, make sure there's nothing else spawns in. Because whilst I vaguely remember this, I definitely don't remember it exactly. Do you mind? I am trying to DPS. It is kind of distracting having Sid stand in the background there shooting at stuff. It's like, have I missed an enemy? Back to single target. It's nice, I get to build up my beast gauge. Can't skip the scenes. Can't even fast forward the text. Everyone is synced on this. Oh yeah, go Sid, you magnificent badass. I do like Sid. I love the fact that there is a Sid in every single Final Fantasy. That is really, really cool. And I think 14's version of Sid is pretty awesome. Like, he's always an engineer of some kind as well, or always involved in some kind of engineering. Ah, Livia Junius. I remember Livia. Princess among women. Yep, that's me. that's my character, not actually me. Of course they shower me with honors. I'm amazing. Look at me. I'm like 7-8 foot tall. I've got thighs that can crush the air from a man's lungs. Some badass rock music going on as well. Such a great soundtrack. Like, genuinely, there's a lot of video game music I enjoy in general, but the FF14 soundtrack, even when I've not been playing the game, even when I was living in Zimbabwe, it was still something I listened to. It was still just a soundtrack that has so many great memories and just amazing pieces of music. Absolute masterpiece for soundtrack. Oh yeah! Livia is pretty badass. Yeah, she may be very much one of the bad guys on the Ghanaian side, but again, we get that kind of whole thing of she's a bad guy, but she's human, if that makes sense. She has reasons for doing the things, and she genuinely believes that she's doing the right thing. And make of that what you will. All the particle effects. I love it when the game does this. It's like, yep, you have to stand in the bad and wait for it to pass and then come back in. Great feeling. Just ups that little bit of tension. The Shiva fight does that really well. I think Odin does it as well, if I remember, as the Scorodam. Let's give the healer a little bit of breathing room. Like there's bits I know I can just not stand in, but I've got to stay here until the first bit goes, then move in trying to remember where the last bit was, then get back into another space. Oh, it's great. It's great. It's not just stand in the bad, it's work out which bit of bad you actually kind of have to stand in for the moment. Oh, and it just makes you feel great. Like, people mock Final Fantasy XIV sometimes for, oh, it's just basically don't stand in the glowy orange bits, but you have just witnessed there that sometimes you have to stand in the glowy bits, and you've just got to try and remember which glowy bit is going to be safe for you to stand in for the time being, and then move out of into another glowy bit later. You're kind of watching the patterns, and it does just feel incredible. It really does. Here we go. Right, so there's good to start with. Now I need to be as far away from those blasts as possible. Should have gone the other way to keep the group close. Well-timed cooldowns there, because I know everyone's going to take a hit, so if the healer has to heal me less, that's more chance there to heal the rest of the party that's suddenly taking damage unavoidably. Oh, I've missed this. I've missed it. I do like tanking. I do really like tanking, and he's burned the limit. Yes, good man. Duty completes. Oh, and a level up out of it as well. Oh, that feels good. I've missed tanking. I have genuinely missed tanking. Oh, I can skip this cutscene. I'll save this one because it's not part of the story quest that I'm going to be showcasing on this channel. It is absolutely... Oh, hello. What have I got here? Claim rewards. What do I get? Irregular Timestone of Genesis. Nice. That's all that was. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so... warrior tanking, definitely something I'm still enjoying, definitely something to consider me possibly maining going forward. Tanks are obviously always in demand. I mean, if I open the duty finder right now, adventurer need tank, adventurer need tank. Now, adventurer need healer. Ooh, we'll try that for another video just now. Adventurer need tank. DPS for alliance raids. Oh, yeah, okay. Interesting. Well, anyway, there we are. That is me trying out warrior tank again, seeing if I still have the capability of warrior tanking. Turns out I very much do. So that is definitely a contender in the running for what will I main in Final Fantasy XIV going forward. What I want to do now, though, is try out some of my other healers as well, and just decide whether I want to go tank or healer. I'll be honest, DPS doesn't interest me as much. But then if I go healer, do I go scholar, do I go astrologian, do I go white mage, do I try out the new sage class? We'll see. Anyway, that's been it for today. That's me trying out warrior tanking. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. I know I've obviously recorded this on my own, but it does actually feel kind of comforting to feel like you're all there with me on this journey, watching me and judging me silently in the background. So that actually does help me try out these slightly scary things otherwise. Anyway, I am now going to swap across to healer, and we're going to try and run some dungeons and see how we do with that. Happy sailing, folks, and see you in Eorzea.